Billy Keith. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, sometimes referred to as the Sun Man.
And how did you get started as an artist? Was there a person or event that inspired you?
I had a near-death experience that led me to believe I was going to make art with the sun and magnifying glasses after having collected lenses for about 2 years.
How do your life experiences, whether personal or professional, find their way into your art?
Because of the nature of how I became an artist, I usually just go with the flow, whatever I'm in the middle of, and I kind of just do what I'm told, for lack of a better way of putting it. I don't really have a whole lot of predestined ideas of what I want to make happen or a story I want to tell.
Do you have a personal philosophy that's reflected in your artwork at all?
I just want everybody to be happy, so I just hope my art brings joy to people and makes them feel good and makes their space a little better. Maybe because I live in their space, their life is just a little better.
And can you describe and explain your most important tool or material you use for creating your art?
The most important tool is this large Cornell lens, which concentrates a big giant piece of sunlight into a 1/4-inch focal dot, which is 2,000 degrees.
Can you walk me through the process of how you create a piece and how does an initial idea turn into a finished work?
I usually just put a piece of wood out and I start drawing whatever I feel like I need to draw at the beginning. So,
And
in this piece that we have behind me, I just drew an oval that I thought felt like a face, and then I put some eye slots on it and a little mouth slit, and then from there we just started making art. I got like, who lives in this head? Put a body on it. It's like, what's his body doing? It's like, it's making a thumbs up. And then why is he making a thumbs up? Because he's spreading peace.
And folk art often involves repurposed or unconventional materials. What type of materials do you prefer to use and why do you choose them?
I used to just use wood that I found when I was first starting to make art because it was cheaper to just experiment and play with. And as I got to be a better artist and I became more sellable, I wanted to make sure people had a product that wasn't from somebody's bathroom formerly, so I just started buying sheets of plywood and cutting them up into something that was more manageable.
Is there a specific time of day that you prefer to create or that's better for creating the type of art you create?
It depends on the time of year, but it's usually a few hours before midday and a few hours after midday. During the summertime, midday is longer. You know, the sun is up over top of you, due south for 7-8 hours, so I have an 8-hour window of time. During the winter, you have about a 4-hour window of time on either side of the midday, which is when the sun is due south, no matter what time of year. Due south is always midday.
How did you become involved with Finster Fest in Paradise Garden?
A friend of mine told me it was something cool to do, a guy named Bill Montana. And then I drove down here in the dark of night one year, 4 years ago, and just made art to see if I could get myself invited. So they let me draw outside the gate. And then the next year they invited me, and this is my 3rd year inside the garden.
What does the art and legacy of Howard Finster mean to you, and did he influence your work at all?
Howard's influenced me as a human being to be a better, more kind and understanding person, and to embrace the showmanship of being an artist.
And how does the spirit of Howard Finster's art, including his spiritual themes and religious themes and use of language, resonate in your own work?
I love Howard Finster's message. I don't know if my work reflects any of it per se. I didn't even, as a folk artist, I didn't even really mean to be an artist. I was just some guy with a big collection of lenses that died one day that didn't know who any other artists were or anything, just on my own particular path. And so I understand that he did it as a way of spreading his preaching without having to preach to people that wouldn't understand. His message went way further on the cover of an album than it did sitting in a church in Somerville. So I feel sort of the same way. My goal is always to try to help enlighten the earth and people to be better and more pure of themselves. So that's how I feel like I represent the spirit of Howard Finster. I want to kind of carry on his legacy of just spreading the good word and spreading the work of loving each other, whether we all get along or not. You gotta even love your enemies if you want to learn to love. You have to learn to love everybody. So I try to always go with that mindset. As a human being, I'm flawed. I sometimes fail that message, but I still always try to forgive myself, back up, and then reapproach the same situation differently the next time with more love in my heart.
What's been your most memorable experience at Finster Fest?
I'd say my first year just coming here and just drawing outside of Finster Fest and just being here and just seeing all these magical people and people I just met on the Facebook before, like during the COVID years when we had the art show on Facebook where people were just selling art on Facebook. So that's where I met a lot of the people that are here in the first place, and then to finally actually get to see them and hug them and meet everybody in person, and have people feed me and all that kind of stuff, and really get to hang out and fellowship. I just loved it. I felt immediately at home. Kind of got all weepy when I first, when I got ready to leave here. I was already all touched by the spirit of the garden. Like, I don't know how to explain that phenomenon, but it definitely touches you in a special place in your heart. If it doesn't, then maybe you need to come back more until it touches in that special place in your heart.
Is there a particular piece that you display or that you're most proud of, and can you tell me why?
I like the ones that are kind of more just individualistic, that aren't reproductions of anything I've ever made before. So I have several. Like I sold a Sun Man piece last year, or this year. There's a big giant sun representation of like how I think the universe works. And that was one of my favorite pieces.
And what's the story behind that piece? Is there a hidden meaning or message within it?
Well, our sun borrows energy from all the other suns in the universe. So what we experience as sunlight is actually the sun radiating out all the other like cosmic energy to us as it tries to pass through it. It's like the sun doesn't make it all the way through the earth. What we experience as the earth and light is actually the light not actually getting anywhere. What we see as light is bent light. We see the bent sun coming into us and making us.
What's the biggest challenge you face as an artist?
Having good sunshine. Clouds come, I can't make art. Today I'm praying for clouds because everybody else has been hot for a long time, so we could use a little cooling breeze action for a while. So if we get some clouds, I've made enough art for one day.
What does the word artist mean to you?
I don't really have a definition for artist. I guess for me, an artist is a person that makes art, that continues to make art regardless of the struggle of actually being profitable or anything. They just have no choice but the compulsion to make art. It is their life mission to make art. There are way better illustrators than I am. There are way better people that can draw better than I can and make cooler things, but they might not be artists because they have something else to do with their life. And they might do some one-offs here and there that are fantastic, but they're not dedicated to the life, I guess.
How do you feel folk art is important to society today?
I feel like it gives everybody an opportunity to experience a more human condition, and people that are more genuine with who they are and what they're willing to express into the universe.
Do you have any advice for aspiring folk artists?
Be prepared for a long, rocky road, because it's not all gravy.
What's been the most surprising or interesting thing you've seen today?
I haven't really seen a lot of it in my booth all day, so I haven't seen a whole lot today. I'm super happy to be across the way from William over here. He's painting. I love his little dot stuff. Always when Billy Smith's around, there's always just a lot of comedy and laughing. And Sam G, a lot of comedy and laughing. So it's the brotherhood and the fellowship of being with all these great people.
If you could add one new feature to Paradise Garden, what would it be?
I have no stake in that. I have no idea what I would want here.
Well, if you could build your own art garden, what would be in it?
Probably a lot of sculptures of things. I don't even know what I would want to do. Like, I liked all the concrete sculptures and stuff like that, but I'm not really making that kind of art because you can only make so much hoarded material in your life unless you have 4.5 acres of stuff to spread into. If I had 4.5 acres, I would never stop. I would just keep melting everything. I would keep just piling stuff up on top of itself until it reached the sky. But since I live in a 1,400 square foot house with a little tiny backyard, I have my limitations. And I already live in a densely packed house full of art. So.
If Howard Finster were here today, what do you think he would add to the garden next?
A hugging tree. Just something to hug on and make sure you understand that everything needs a little love, and if you can't hug a person, you can always hug a tree and get started somewhere.
What's the best advice you've ever received from a stranger at a festival?
Oh, at a festival. I was gonna say just anywhere.
Yeah, any festival or anywhere.
The best
Yeah.
advice I ever heard was like kind of back to what I was just saying. Like the gentleman told me, he's like, I am another you and you are another me. And he told me to start with trees because they're the easiest thing to communicate with on that level. So he said we're just walking trees. That's kind of my best advice there. It's one of the other reasons why I do a lot of trees, because it's like, well, it's kind of also metaphorically we are walking trees. So that was super magical to me. He asked me if I needed a healing, and then told me that mess.
Okay. If your day at Finster Fest had a theme song, what would it be?
Although we're getting kind of in the shade right now.
Hunk of burning love.
And is there a message that you would want people watching this to know?
Love each other more than you love yourself, because you gotta love people more than you love yourself. It's the only way to get ahead in this world.
And where can people find your art?
I'm solarcombustion.art. That's my website. And come to Louisville, Kentucky. You can look me up and come down to the house, and I'll make some fresh art for you, or you can come check out what I got piled up around you.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.